one of the last jobs that I worked at said that company prepared me for the whole rest of my life. I'm like, there is nothing that can throw me off kilter after working for them. Hi, I'm Barika from Simply Unique Coaching. And what I want to talk about today is the importance of being self aware. Now, this is one of the first things that I actually teach people when they're working with me in the program or in my 90-day leadership boot camp is how to be self aware. Because a lot of times when we get caught up or hung up in an area, it's a blind spot that we may not be aware of, or it may be just ignorance. And I'm not saying ignorance to be mean, it's just we don't know what we don't know. And until we get exposure to someone who has been where we're going, then we don't have the answers to what is the solution to this problem. And so I actually have 15 years of leadership experience. I got my first leadership position at the age of 17. I got my second at the age of 25. And then from there, I've led 10 teams professionally and probably combined number of teams is 18 when I talk about like adding in the nonprofits and stuff that I've done as well. When it comes to being self-aware, we need to know our strengths and our weaknesses. Certain people that know us well, they'll be able to identify our strengths. And then the people that we work with closely, they're going to see our weaknesses. Now, whether or not they tell us about it, that's another factor. So we want to always build a safe environment where people feel comfortable to tell us the truth, especially if it's a truth that impacts others. Okay. So I know sometimes we want to think that, oh, we're awesome and fabulous, and you are awesome and you are fabulous. Semicolon, however, comma, we also all have blind spots. And I know sometimes when people may not be feeling as confident in their role, especially with leaders, because leaders, we're expected to know it all. We're expected to be confident all the time, but we're not always confident, right? We may have areas where we're like, oh, I'm not sure. Ooh, I gave that speech. I don't know how that went. Ooh, I had to give that employee feedback. I'm not sure how that went. Oh, I had to do this interview. Oh my gosh. I'm not sure how I came across or, like there can be a number of factors that can cause us to kind of maybe second guess or like I think that new term is like the imposter syndrome. People feel the imposter syndrome. And it's not that you are an imposter at all, but there can be some things that kind of, we may feel really strong in certain areas and not as strong in other areas. And there may be some things that we know that we are not strong in, but then there may be other areas that we just don't know because we haven't encountered a situation like that. And I'm telling you, I've encountered so many situations. I'm like, literally, I think I used to say I used to say from one of the last jobs that I worked at said that company prepared me for the whole rest of my life. I'm like, there is nothing that can throw me off kilter after working for them. Not the last company. The last company I worked for was fantastic. But one of the last companies, I was like, ooh, child. I don't think anything else. I was like between them and another company I worked for before, I don't think I can be surprised by anything else. If somebody did somersaults off the top of the roof and set fireworks off at the same time, I'd be like, oh, okay. You know? Anyway, so going back to being self-aware. So I want you to be self-aware. I want you to consider what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses. And I want you to be brave enough to ask the people around you, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? Especially if you're a leader, ask your team. They already know. Already know. Now, if you have a positive work environment, if you have a conducive work environment around you, they're going to tell you the truth. Now, if you have a team where there's not a lot of high trust, you might have to build up to that because they may tell you something, but that might not be the actual truth. And so, make sure that you are prepared to receive the feedback. One of the ways, when you ask a question, you're like, hey, what's one thing you think I do well and what's one thing you think I can improve on? And whenever they tell you, even if it feels like on the inside, don't show it. Don't show it. You can think about it later. And then just say, oh, thank you so much for the feedback. That is a very professional way of addressing it and saying, okay, I appreciate it. And it shows that you're open. And then after you receive it, you take it by yourself and you decide, okay, is this something that I agree with? Is this something I need to be open to considering as a possibility of an area that I need to develop it? So I want you to consider that. And then, with your strengths are your strengths, but sometimes we don't even know what our strengths are. And so knowing your strengths is going to help you know which environments you're going to thrive in. So like for me, I know I am not an accountant. Accounting would be a horrible fit for me. I do not like the details. I like structure, but I don't like details, like down to the the penny, like when I had to take my accounting classes in college, I was like, this is the worst. And I had to take two of them. I was like, looking on this spreadsheet to find these pennies to get them to add up. I was like, this is not for me. This is not for me. Like, voila, this is not for me. This Arabic. Like, I promise it's not for me. So anyway, so knowing our strengths, so I don't need to work in any type of accounting department now. Can I, do spreadsheets and look at data? Yes, data's and charts. That's my jam. That is my jam. So what's your jam? I want to know. What is your strength? I would love to know. And I want you to check out my leadership playlist because I have lots of videos on there. I have shorts. I'm making more longer form content. You know what? I think I was a YouTube person on TikTok at the time I was doing TikTok. And I'm still doing some TikToks. Well, I'm still doing stuff for TikTok as well. But now I'm focusing more on the YouTube stuff. And I used to get kind of annoyed with TikTok because I wanted to share this longer content. And I'm like, I can only share 60 seconds. So I'm hoping that this is being beneficial. If you found it helpful, give it a like, a thumbs up. And I hope that you have a marvelous day. And check out the playlist as well. That is in the description. I'll also link it here in the video. And if you have any questions or if you need anything, let me know. Take care. Bye.